It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day. It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day. Stepped in, clean with my garment on. About to party from the morning till the night's gone. Feeling good, got you bouncing like a 6'4". Giving praises and I'm dancing till the beat's gone. Ha, fringes swaying in the wind. Shalom most high and Christ bless every time I step in. Ha, and I do it for my fam, bro. Who? That's the 12 tribes of Israel. It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day. It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day.
Behold, how good and how pleasant is it for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down the skirts of his garments.
Yo, jump out of bed, hands up, face the east. Lord's black, so I don't pray to the beast. Hit the showers, get oiled up, hair grease. Boots shine, Frenched up at my pants crease. Before birth were ordained to be God's priest. Study the word so my knowledge will be increased. Hit the streets on the Israelites, I'ma teach. Other nations can't stand it, man, there's no peace. Don't worry about the feds or the police. Trying to make it to the kingdom so my evil cease. If you don't keep the laws, you gon' be the least. Let me tell you what that means, your ass to cease. George to the 144 gift release. Esau and his wickedness gets decreased. Back at the school, red wine bread, no yeast. All praises to the Most High, the day of the feast.
It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day.
Got smiles and shalom for the brethren. 3 pound, lean forward, give me a hug in. Pouring up strong drink, no buzzing. Cause we keepin' these law, no fudging. This a Israelite famine, it's going down. If you're cooling for the man, don't come round. This a holy convocation, so we conversating. And we all give unto the congregation. Catch your worries and your cares on the Most High. Cause it's the day of celebration for the 12 tribes. Coming tight, right, clean as a whistle. Put a brush to my beard, got no brittle. Got fringes on with a blue border, no Mitri on, cause we keep order. Hear the shuffle blowing all the way to headquarters. Going in on the lamb, no bread and water.
Gotta keep the feast, joy the Lord is a strength. Right. Remember, didn't serve the Lord, we went to slavery. As long as we keep these laws and statutes, then we never weak. Nah. We gotta let our light shine in this dark place until our Lord kingdom coming, this one out the way. All these wicked holidays look like a holy feast. Nah. All my brothers and sisters dwelling in unity. It's a holy convocation, Leviticus chapter 23. We serve the Lord day and night, I'm talking instantly. It's a feast, it's a feast, it's a feast. Oh, it's a feast.
It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day. It's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, it's a feast day, yeah, it's a feast day.
Shalom, shalom, Israel. All those watching at home who couldn't make it, all those who could make it, all praises to the Most High. We could make it to keep these feast days, you know. So the Most High give us these wonderful feast days to keep, and not just the Sabbath and the main 3 ones, which is Passover and what we got, Pentecost, and what's the third, and the Feast of Dedication. So we also have, you know, other holidays that we are abide to keep also. So we're gonna go right through it. So thank you everybody for showing up. I know it's hard, the traffic and everything, getting out of work to come here. You know, the Most High, you know, love to see us come together as one body, one spirit, one mind, to keep these high holy days and stay in the spirit. You know, so it's a wonderful thing, Israel, and all those who's keeping the Feast of Dedication. All right. So this is what we ordained to do. It's a commandment. It's our heritage basically to keep the these high holy days. So we're gonna start. Before we start, does anybody know what the Feast of Dedication is? Anybody? Yes. Let's give the sister a microphone. You know, I use this one since. Yeah, just a brief, you know. Let me see. Yeah, hold on. Turn mic 3 on. Make sure it's working. So, let me know if you can hear me through the earpiece and stuff. I mean, through the tube. How would you know it's not in your ear? Huh? All right. So as long as you can hear me. So the sister, give us a quick, how would you call it? Summary of what you think the Feast of Dedication is. Check her microphone and make sure her mic 3 is on. Can we even hear it? As long as you can hear it coming out of the tube, so. You got it? All right. So go ahead, sis. When she speaks. Correct. Maccabees. Yeah, the Maccabees. Yeah. Yeah. The Greeks. The Greeks. The Greeks. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. All right. Give it to one of the brothers. See what they got. The Feast of Dedication. What's your take on it since you guys been reading? Anybody want to give it a try? I mean, it's just a quick, you know, what you think of it. Benji, you want to give it a try? Anybody? Anybody? What about you, brother? Yeah, you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we took back the temple from the oppressors. Yeah, hold on for a minute. Yes, sir. Huh? You're not hearing mic 3? I told you guys. I didn't hear anything. Turn it up. You trying to gain? Yeah, yeah, check. Yeah, I don't hear anything at all. Yeah, I told you. Not hearing anything from mic 3.
1 2 1 2.
You gotta speak louder than that, brother. You sound like you just woke up.
1 2.
It's the feast day. Come on, brothers. Everybody sound like they dead, man. Let's get this mics rolling. Come on, let's get this thing going. All right. So all right. So what you said is true. It's the Feast of Dedication is basically us winning the temple back from the Greeks. All right. So it's pretty much it's it's us liberating ourselves from the from the Greek oppression, deliverance from pretty much white supremacy all over again. You know, they came in, they sabotaged our city, they raped, they killed, pillaged. The same thing happens when they came here to the Americas. It's the same spirits, but keeps coming back over and over and over and over again. All right. So that's mic 1. This is mic 1 here. What about now? Check mic 3. There you go. All right.
1 2 1 2.
1 2. Mike, what mic you got, brother? Mic 4. This one is working now? Hit it again. There you go. It's working. All right, give it back to
1 2 1 2.
Yeah. All right. So it's pretty much us winning the temple back in Jerusalem and then fighting for and standing for the truth and standing and ready to die for what we believe in, as Mattathias did. So we're gonna run right through it. Does anybody know how many feasts do we have in the for the winter season? How many feasts? Anybody? Do you know? Can you count them? How many? If you know, if you don't know, it's okay.
2.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the brothers. Anybody? Anybody? How many feasts do we have for the winter season? You got. So far, we have the Feast of Dedication. That's the spring. In gatherings, is the spring. So we have Feast of Dedication. You got Purim and Feast of Destruction of Nicanor. So it's 3. It's 3. Yeah, it's 3, right? Yeah, you got Feast of Dedication, Destruction of Nicanor, and Purim. And Purim. Yeah. So we got 3 winter feast days. All right. So all right, let's get to it. So before we even start, you know what? Give me John 10:22. Let's start with that. So if there's any Christians watching, so we can show them that even in the New Testament, what they call New Testament, all right, Christ kept the Feast of Dedication. The disciples, the apostles, all Israel kept the feast, all right, because we are commanded to keep the feast days, all right. So we're gonna start with John 10:22, all right, and then we're gonna read right through it, all right. So the Feast of Dedication is when our brothers couldn't take it no more and said, you know what, it's time to fight for what you believe in and ready to die for it. So I don't know if there's a lot of people in Israel, a lot of brothers in Israel is willing to die for this truth or willing to go to jail for it. So, when the day comes, it will, we will be put to the test for this truth. The apostles got put to death for this truth. A lot of Israelite brothers and sisters got put to death for this truth. So, you got to be willing to die for what you believe in. Yes. All right. So let's go to John 10:22. All right. We're going to start with that. Let me know when everybody got it. John 10:22, to show that even in the New Testament, that Christ, Yahushua, kept the Feast of Dedication. All right, let's get to it.
The book of John, chapter 10 and verse 22.
Read that, brethren.
And it was at Jerusalem.
And it was at Jerusalem, all right, city of Jerusalem. Read on.
The Feast of Dedication.
See, the Feast of Dedication. This is New Testament that we're reading. The Feast of Dedication is being spoken of in the feast in the New Testament, the book of John 10:22. Read on.
And it was winter.
And it was when?
And it was winter.
It was winter, just like it's winter now. All right. This is one of the feasts that we celebrate in the winter times. Feast of Dedication, the destruction of the Cana, and Purim. All right. Read on.
And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
So Christ walked in the temple of Solomon porch. Read on.
Then came the Jews round about him.
So the Jews came around him. Read on.
And said unto him,
say what?
How long dost thou make us do that to doubt?
To doubt. So the leaders of that time, the scribes and Pharisees, is asking them, how long you gonna keep making this doubt of who you are? All right, inquisiting of what Christ should tell them, who he is and stuff like that. So there was some trickery guys back then, man. These guys are something else. Every day they'll come to Christ with a whole different story of how to trick him in his words, to catch him slipping, like we say today. All right, read on.
If thou be the Christ,
if you supposed to be the Christ that the Messiah speaks of, read on.
Tell us plainly.
Tell us what?
Tell us plainly.
Tell us plainly. After every work the man has done, you still doesn't believe in him. It's not that they didn't believe in Christ. It's just that they didn't want the people to believe that he is the Messiah. Why? Because if Christ tell them that he is the Messiah, what happened to their place in power? Right? So if the people when you read in John 11:47, he said, we got to do something about this guy. If the people starts believing this guy, so what's going to be in our place? And what do you think the Romans are going to do to us? We're going to lose our seats. We're going to use our high standards in, how people look at us and view us, So these guys were some crafty council guys, man. Just like the Jesse Jacksons of today, they're not out there representing us. These people are not willing to fight and die for us. How you going to march with us and then the next day you right back with your enemy? That's not the kind of spirit we're looking for in Israel. We're looking for men that's about it, like Master P said, who's willing to die for this truth, willing to go to jail for it. That's the type of spirit we're about to read tonight. That's that war spirit, that war cry, that real Benjamite cry, right, brethren? All right there, my brother. All right, read that, brethren. Now read it again from the top for the Christians. for those that don't believe that Christ kept the Feast of Dedication. Why is the churches saying that they're believers of Christ, right? They follow Christ. That's what a Christian is, a follower of Christ. Why are you not keeping the feast days of Feast of Dedication, a.k.a. Hanukkah? If you don't know it as Feast of Dedication, you know it as Hanukkah, right? The Feast of Lights, all right? Read that.
The book of John, chapter 10 and verse 22.
Uh-huh.
And it was at Jerusalem.
At Jerusalem, read on.
The Feast of Dedication.
The Feast of Lights, Hanukkah, read on.
And it was winter.
And it was when?
It was winter.
No, it was summer.
It was winter.
It was spring, brethren.
And it was winter.
Read on.
And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch.
Uh-huh.
Then came the Jews round about him.
Uh-huh.
And said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt?
So they basically trying to get him in his word. So does anybody knows what other prophets spoke about about the what we're about to read in the Apocrypha about the destruction of us getting the temple back? What other prophets spoke about the Greeks coming in to take over our temple? What does anybody know? What other prophets in the scriptures? Anybody? All right. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Yeah. All right. Daniel had a vision about the Greeks coming in, right, to mess up our temple and defile our temple and all the stuff that we are about to read in the Maccabees. All right. Let's do that. Book of Daniel, chapter 8, the 8th chapter. All right. We can start with verse 5. We can start with verse 5. We're going to read right through it, and then we're going to get right back to it. So Daniel had a vision about the different type of kingdoms that was to come, right? And then which kingdom is going to take out which kingdom's going to take out what kingdom, and then the next kingdom and the next ruler. So Daniel is given the dream to what's his name, Nebuchadnezzar, right? Read on.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 5.
Read on.
And as I was considering, behold, and he-goat came from the west.
So it's describing an animal. Why? Because this is a parable. All right. Why does the Most High speaks in parables and dark sayings? All right. So as a matter of fact, hold that real quick. Just hold that scripture, and then give me Hosea 12. Hosea 12 and 10. The Most High speaks to you what? In a vision, in dreams, or in parables. Let's bring that out. So, because this whole Bible is written, in parables and dark sayings. In order for you to know how to break it down, you must be keeping the commandments. First and foremost, you got to be keeping the commandments, knowing that you're in Israel. And the number 2 thing is reading it what? Precept upon precept, line upon line. Here a little and there a little. All right? That's how you divide the word and explain it. All right? So the book of Hosea, chapter 12, verse 10. All right? Read that real quick, and then we come right back to to Daniel.
The book of Hosea, chapter 12 and verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets.
I have spoken to his prophets. When the Most High speaks to you, he doesn't come to you like the Christian says, oh, I spoke to Jesus last night. No, it wasn't Jesus you spoke with last night. Yeah, man, you know what? You're right. You spoke to Jesus last night. White Jesus. All right? You didn't speak to the Jesus of the Bible, Yahushua. All right? You spoke to Jesus. All right? Caesar. Read on.
And I have multiplied visions.
He had what?
I have multiplied visions.
The Most High said he had multiplied visions. Read on.
And used similitudes.
No, similitudes.
And used similitudes.
He used similitudes, parables. Read on.
By the ministry of the prophets.
By the ministry of the sister that says she spoke to Jesus last night.
By the ministry of the prophets.
No, Jesus came in a dream and told her everything.
By the ministry of the prophets.
You see that? By the prophets. This is why when you see the prophets outside teaching the people, we are reading the Most High's word. All right? That's what Isaiah 8 and 20 said, to the truth and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. So everything we speak, we got to speak, thus saith the Lord. All right? Because we are the hosts of the Most High. We are the ambassadors, the prophets. Every brother out there, no matter what camp you are out there doing the work, we are a representative of the Most High in Christ, right? We are the prophets bringing out God's word, not our word, all right? Read it again, Hosea.
Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
I have also spoken by the prophets.
I have also spoken by the prophets. Read on.
And I have multiplied visions.
I had multiplied visions. The Most High speak to you in a vision. Read on.
And used similitudes.
Similitude, brother. I know it's hard.
Similitudes.
Similitudes, all right?
By the ministry of the prophets.
By the ministry of his prophets, all right? So now let's go back to Daniel. So let's see what vision or similitude that Daniel had, all right? Let's go back to Daniel 8 and 5. So Daniel is going to give you a vision of what he's seen of the different kingdoms and what's going to occur with those kingdoms. All right, read on.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
And as I was considering,
uh-huh,
behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground.
And touched not the ground. Let's see who that he-goat is. Read on.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes.
Had a notable what?
Horn between his eyes.
Read on.
And he came to the ram that had two horns.
So the ram here is speaking of who? The ram is speaking of the Persian and Medes captivity. It's going to explain. Watch this. Read on.
Which I had seen standing before the river.
Which I have seen before what?
Standing before the river.
So when you start from verse 1, because I know you guys, I'm starting from verse 5. So it's breaking down the Babylonian captivity, the Syrian captivity. Now he's getting to the Medes and the Persian captivity. The two horns, each horns representing power. All right, just like Christ is our horn. All right, when you read in Revelations, it speaks about the little horn that comes out of the seven, which is America, which is the little horn that grew to become the big superpower. So when he used the word horn, it means a power. All right, so read it again.
And he came to the ram that had two horns.
That had two horns. Why it had two horns? Because the Persians defeated the Medes. They became one. All right? He took over. They became one superpower. So that's why they have two horns. Read on.
Which I had seen standing before the river.
Which I have seen standing before the river. Read on.
And ran on to him in the fury of his power.
Now he's speaking about the he-goat, right? The he-goat represents what? The Greeks. All right? Read on.
And I saw him come also onto the ram. And he was moved with the...
What verse you want?
7.
It's verse 7. All right, read on.
And I saw him come close onto the ram. And he was moved with choler against him. And smote the ram.
And what?
And smote the ram.
And smote him and killed him. So remember, the Greeks came and defeated the Persians. And they became the greatest empire after that. Read on.
And broke his two horns.
And broke the two horns. The Persians and Medes, they were together. It was one main empire. Read on.
And there was no power in the ram to stand before him.
He makes sure he destroyed him to where he can never come back. And what happened when the Persians got defeated? Did they ever come back? No. Most of them, they got pushed east. That's who you call the Iranians, the East Indians today. The Persians. All right, the East Indians. So most of them, they got pushed so far east, and the Greeks is like, all right, leave them there. That's it. We ain't going to keep following you guys. We already defeated you guys. Read on.
But he cast him down to the ground.
But he what?
But he cast him down to the ground. And stamped upon him.
And what?
And stamped upon him.
When you stepped upon something, you basically stumping them out to a point where you kill them to a point where there's no coming back. There's no putting the how do you call the thing? The hospital put on your chest? How do you call that thing? The what? No, that's what they call it. The thing to bring you back, to shock you to bring you back to. He bit him. He stumped him. They beat him so bad. There's no coming back. The defibrillator? Defibrillator. Am I saying it right? I can't get these words right, man. Forgive me. I'm worse than this brother right here. All right? All right, let's read on.
And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
So there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. When the Greeks came, they went around slaughtering everybody, which we're going to read in a few minutes. All right, read on.
Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great.
So he waxed what?
Very great.
So when he came into power, he waxed very great. He took over. He became the superpower of the world. And now let's read that. 1 Maccabees 1. All right, 1 Maccabees 1. First Maccabees 1 and 1. We're going to start with verse 1. All right, let me know when everybody got it. So when Alexander came into power, he slaughtered King Cyrus, the Persians. He took down the Persians was the Persians took out the Babylonians, all right? And then the Persians took out the Medes, so they became one superpower, became two superpowers in one. That's why he had the small horn and the little horn, all right? And then when the Greeks came, Alexander the Greek came, he took down all the kingdoms, so he became the main superpower of the world, just like America is today, all right? Alongside his allies, all right? Let's read that. First Maccabees 1 and 1.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip,
read on.
the Macedonian.
The Macedonians, read on. Read it again, brethren. Take your time.
And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim.
All right? So the Macedonians, that's what they were calling them back then. They came from Macedonia, all right? The Macedonians. Read on.
Had smitten Darius, king of the Persian, and the Medes.
Yeah, read it again.
And it happened. Sorry.
You all right, brother? Maybe this brother need a glass of wine or something, man. Come on, brother. Let's read the scriptures, man.
And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim.
Read on.
Had smitten Darius
the king, which is the Persians that we just read in the book of Daniel, right? He took out the Persians. So that's what Daniel was prophesying in the vision. All right, read on.
Had smitten Darius, king of the Persian and Medes.
You see, kings of the little horn and the big horn. You see that? So what all the stuff that Daniel was saying in the dream, now you're reading right here in First Maccabees, the first chapter. Read on.
That he reigned in his stead.
But he reigned instead. He took out the Persians and the Medes, and that was it. The Persian and Medes at the time was the superpower. So if you take out the superpower, that means now you are the new superpower that's ruling and conquering. Read on.
The first over Greece.
The what?
The first over Greece.
So Alexander was the first over Greece, the first Caucasian race to rise up to that type of to that level. All right, of superpower. Read on.
And made many wars.
And made what?
And made many wars.
And he went around making many wars, not just taking out the Persian and Medes and every little empire that was round about. He took down all of them. All right, read on.
And won many strongholds.
And what?
And won many strongholds.
Read on.
And slew the kings of the earth.
And slew what?
And slew the kings of the earth.
So all the other kings, all the other empires that was around about, Alexander went around and destroyed all of them and killed all of them and took over. He says, a new sheriff in town. I'm here to take over. All right, read on.
And went through to the ends of the earth.
So he went around massacring the same thing they did when they come here. They slaughtered, pillaged, robbed, murdered, raped, all right? All kinds of crazy madness the Greeks came with. You know, incest, babies, and homosexuality. I mean, they took it to a whole nother level. Read on.
And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations.
They took the spoils. They took all their golds. They all the vessels of gold, silver, every beautiful possession that this. Remember, the Babylonians took all the stuff from our temple. All right, and the Medes came and took all the stuff from them. So it's just basically keep robbing each other till the next guy come and just keep passing it around. So when Alexander came, he just took everything. Everything that those empires took from other kingdoms, he just took it all. All mine now. He's playing for keeps. All right?
Insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
So he took, the men went around and took over everything to where the whole earth was quiet before him. Can you even imagine what that is? When you have everybody in subjection to you, you don't want to hear a peep because you have garrisons, you have troops set up in all these different empires just in case somebody act up, just like America does today. America follows the same patterns of their forefathers. That's why they have embassies and troops in every nation, just to make sure that you don't get out of line. I don't lose my what is it called? Superiority. How come I can never get this word right?
Superiority.
Super reality. I can never get that word right, man. Super reality he needs, all right? All right? So pretty much world domination. Let's put it like that. All right? Read on, brethren.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So this man was exalted to be the main superpower of the world. Because the Persians and Medes, they were not easy to take down. So for you to take out the Persians and the Medes together, that man, that's a lot of respect that the kings gave them. Because if you could take out the Persians and the Medes, the other ones are so small, it's basically nothing. You eat them for breakfast. All right, so you got to get to the top dogs to become king of all. All right, he says what?
Insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
So the whole earth got quiet before him. Read on. Let's read it.
Whereupon he was exalted.
He was exalted. Read on.
And his heart was lifted up.
So his pride was lifted up, just like every other way, just like Trump today. His superpower, right? White supremacy. All right. That's what it is. Their heart is they're very proudful. You know what I'm saying? Very, very proudful. Read on.
And he gathered a mighty strong host.
He gathered together. He gathered what? A mighty
strong host.
All his generals and all his allies. Read on.
And ruled over countries and nations and kings.
So he ruled pretty much. He took over the whole earth. The whole earth was under his thumb. Read on.
Who became tributaries unto him.
It became tributaries to him. Those who pay taxes. All right. When you take over a land, you have to pay taxes. And that's what happens. You got to pay taxes because why? Because you're in subjection to another country. Just like we still slaves here in America, we have to pay taxes. When you work, they still have to take a portion out of what you make. And then the net pay you take home with, that's your little portion. Even though the man wasn't standing next to you doing all the work, but at the end of the week, he still taxed you out of your check. But you didn't do the work with me. How do you tax me? Right? Because you're a slave. All right? And Christ said that to the disciples. As a matter of fact, hold that. Give me that real quick. All right? Let's go to Matthew. Let's show our people that says, well, I'm not a slave. Well, I got a job. I mean, yeah, we all got to pay taxes. No, only slaves pay taxes. All right? Even the masses here are under slavery too. The white man doesn't have no respect of person. All right? Only the elites doesn't pay taxes. But the masses, and along with the other slaves, they have to pay taxes. All right? So let's see what Christ says about who's a slave and who's not a slave. Matthew 22. I'm sorry. Matthew 22. Give me the one to 17 first. Matthew 17. Let's get that. Matthew 17. 24 to 27. Let's see who's a slave. So when he says all the kingdoms, all right, and all the kings, right, became tributaries, they all had to be submit to the king's orders of paying taxes. It's the same thing. Just like the same thing with America. He has a lot of other countries paying taxes to him. You have to, like Trump said, you got to pay your 2%. Justin Trudeau got to pay his 2%, right? Just like the other ones that was making fun of him at the NATO meeting. He's like, oh, all right, I'm going to get you guys. Now I'm going to raise it up. You may have to pay 4%. All right, you making fun of me? I'm the king of this earth. All right? America's the ruling superpower. You don't make fun of the ruling superpower. All right? Especially a guy like Trump. He's like a big baby. You know, it's like a kid in the playground. Hey, you're making fun of him. He goes into a tantrum. All right, let's read that real quick.
The book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 24.
Uh-huh.
And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter.
So those that received tribute money came to who?
Came to Peter.
Read on.
And said, doth not your master pay tribute?
So they asking. You see that? I'll start with 16. Get the full context of it. All right. Start with 16. So watch what Yahushua Christ is going to say about those that are paying taxes, what they are, all right? And if they think they free or not. Read on.
The book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 16. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not kill him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless.
I'm sorry. The 24, right? The 24. Yeah, just start with 24. Let's get straight to it because we want to read this thing right through. All right?
Verse 24.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My fault.
And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter.
Okay, read on.
Said,
because these are the tax collectors. Those that they receive because they don't want to come and collect the tax from you. All right, read on.
Doth not your master pay tribute?
So they asking Peter. See, they're trying to see if Christ pay his taxes. They're asking Peter, all right, does your master pay taxes? Read on.
He saith, yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying.
Saying what?
What thinkest thou, Simon?
He said, what you think, Simon? Read on.
Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute?
So he's asking, who do you think the kings of this earth, this time, this is the time of the Roman Empire. Who do you think Caesar taxed? Let's see what he says.
Of their own children?
Do they tax their own people? Read on.
Or of strangers?
Or of us right now under their ruling thumb. You see that? Read on.
Peter saith unto him.
Read.
Of strangers.
Of us. We are the strangers right now in our own land. Like Lamentations 5 said, we became strangers in our own land. All right? Everything has been given to these heathens. All right? So, read on.
Jesus saith unto him.
Read.
Then are the children free.
So, then are you free. So, right now, we're not free. You Negroes are not free in America. You got to pay taxes. If you were the ruling superpower, you wouldn't be paying taxes because your king will set up laws in place where you shouldn't have to pay taxes. Only servants pay taxes. That's why I said even America, they don't even care about their own people because everybody here pays taxes except for the elites. Donald Trump doesn't pay taxes. Why do you think he doesn't want to show you his tax? Because he doesn't pay taxes. He's not the only one. A whole lot of them in the higher ups doesn't pay taxes because they know that. You're not only servants pay taxes. Yes, sir. Yeah, give him the mic behind you.
I've always been puzzled by this particular verse here, where it say, "What thinkest thou, Simon?"
He said, "What are you thinking, Simon?
Yeah.
What you think?
Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children, or of strangers?" Now, when you go down where it said, "Then are the children free?" Is it referring to the children who are of the?
Meaning that if my nation is ruling over your nation, my nation, my children are free. They don't free from what? From paying taxes.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have to pay taxes because that law doesn't apply to my people. It only that law only applies to who I have under subjection, which is the children of Israel at that time, because the Romans is ruling during that time.
I think my problem was when I was reading this is that it sound more like it should have been a question mark instead of a Because
it started with a question, and then the way he ended, then he said, then he made a statement.
Right.
He said, after he asked him the question, and Peter answers the question, and then Christ made a statement. He says, then there you go.
Okay.
Just like we say, if we're talking, like, then there you go. There you have it. Right? Read that part again. Let's see if it sink in. That very part that he's referring to. I think 27.
25 to
25? Okay.
Start from 25.
All right, read that 25 again, because like I said, I want to get started with this. All right?
The book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 25.
Uh-huh.
He saith, yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying,
uh-huh.
What thinkest thou, Simon?
He says, what do you think, Simon?
Of whom the kings of the earth take custom or tribute.
So he's asking, who do you think the kings on this earth tax? Make it plain and simple for you. Read on.
Of their own children?
Do they tax their own people?
Or of strangers?
Or us, which is under their ruling thumb right now at the moment.
Peter saith unto him,
uh-huh.
Of strangers.
Of us. And what Christ replied?
Jesus saith unto him,
uh-huh.
Then are the children free.
And there you have it. So they don't need to put a question mark there, because Peter already answers the question. Right. So he just made a statement. So there you go. So there shouldn't be a question mark there, right? All right, all praises. All right, so let's move on, bro. Give me that in 2 Chronicles. Let me show you where we had them paying taxes, and then we're gonna jump right into it. I want to bring this point to show you guys that people that pay taxes are slaves, and the kings and the presidents, the nations knows that. All right, let me show you how we used to have them paying taxes during the time of King Solomon. 2 Chronicles 8. We're going to start 1, 2, 3, and jump to 6 and 7. Watch this. 2 Chronicles chapter 8. All right. 2 Chronicles chapter 8, verse 1, 2, 3, and then jump down to 6 and 7. Watch this. Let me show you what our king, the way when we were ruling, how we had them in subjection. So that's what Christ was referring to him. All right. Christ knew that because Christ knew King Solomon. Oh, hello, King Solomon, Christ. All right, you get it? He knew that he had them in subjection, paying taxes. All right. So I just throw a little bonus up there, see who catch it. All right. So yeah, let's read that 2 Chronicles 8. Let's see when we had the nations, when we were ruling, how we had them paying taxes. All right. 2 Chronicles 8. You got it? Let's read that. We want to breeze right through this Maccabees.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 8, and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass at the end of 20 years, wherein Solomon had built the house of the Lord.
So Solomon built the house of the Lord. It's going right through it. Read on. So he built the temple in the house of the Lord that was prophesied for him to do it, not David, but him. Read on.
And his own house.
And his own personal house. Read on.
That the city which Huram had restored to Solomon, Solomon built them and caused the children of Israel.
And caused the children of Israel, read on.
To dwell there.
So the children of Israel dwell in those cities too. When we take over a city, it's the same thing. Everything that the heathens are doing is the same thing Solomon did and King David did and our forefathers did. Read on.
And Solomon went to Hamath-Zobah and prevailed against it.
And we prevailed against all these. Basically, Solomon is doing what the Greeks did, the Persians did, and everybody else. But we are ordained to do these things because why? We are the rulers and the kings of this earth. Right? Ain't that right, brothers?
That's right.
That's right. All right. Read on. Jump down to verse 6.
And Bala and all the stores.
No, jump to, just go to 7. Just jump to 7 so we don't waste no time with it.
Verse 7. As for all the people that were left of the Hittites.
So when you go to war with those nations, whatever remnant that's left of them, all right, those that throw it in the white flag and said, I give up, all right, because when there's war, there's always going to be those that's left behind. Read on.
And the Amorites.
And the Amorites, those are African nations. Read on.
And the Perizzites.
And the Perizzites, read on.
And the Hivites.
And the Hivites, all African nations, read on.
And the Jebusites.
The Jebusites, read on.
Which were not of Israel.
Those people were not of our people. Read on. Let's see what Solomon's going to do. Read on.
But of their children.
But of their children, listen up.
Who were left after them in the land.
So those children that were left of those nations, read on.
Whom the children of Israel consumed not.
So those we didn't kill, basically. We didn't kill them. Those are the prisoners of war, you would say, right? Read on.
Them did Solomon make to pay tribute until this day.
Read that part again. Them, those people, the remnant of those people that we went to war against, that the remnant of them, read on, what did Solomon do?
Did Solomon make to pay tribute until this day?
Until this very day, till the time when he was running things. And then his son and Rehoboam took over. And Jeroboam and Rehoboam took over. We had these nations in subjections paying taxes. Read on.
But of the children of Israel.
But of the children of Israel, like Christ says, but of the children of the people that is ruling, read on.
Did Solomon make no servants for his work?
You see that? So when you're ruling, your people are not supposed to be paying taxes and working hard labor. What do you think you have the nations of the subjection for? For them to do the work. That's the way it works. You have a hierarchy, and you have a ruling power, a superpower, and you have servants. When you win a fight, you win the battle, that's what happens. You apply laws that fits you and your people. And that's what the Greeks are doing. They were just following the same pattern that the Babylonians did. I mean, the Assyrians, Babylonians, Medes, and the Persians. That's all what's his name was doing. It's nothing different. But it's just that it's supposed to be the other way around, not having us in subjections. Why did we go under their ruling thumb? Why? Who knows why? Because of Deuteronomy, we broke the commandments. We broke the covenant. That's why these heathens are ruling over us. All right? Let's leave that alone. Let's go back to Maccabees, the first Maccabees, and picked up where you left off at. So I just wanted to prove these points to show you that those that are the ruling power, those rules doesn't apply to them because they're the one who set rules. You can only set rules when you're in power. Those that are servants, you have to pay taxes. You have to work 2 jobs. You have to work, well, some of them work 3 jobs, some of us, right? Some of us just came out of 2 jobs coming here. And, it is what it is. So, that's what happened when you're in captivity. So you're in subjection to somebody else's laws. Let's read that.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 5.
Yeah, verse 5. Let's pick up on that. Read on.
And after these things, he fell sick.
What happened to Alexander?
He fell sick.
He felt sick. What he had? He had a bad disease called what? What was it? Syphilis that he had or something like that? Yeah, he died of bad syphilis, right? Read on.
And perceived that he should die.
And perceived that he should die. Read on.
Wherefore he called his servants.
So he called all his servants, his generals. Read on.
Such as were honorable.
Very honorable men. Read on.
And had been brought up with him from his youth.
So these dudes grew up with him since his childhood. Men that he trusts. Men that he put in ruling his army. Conquering with him. Read on.
And parted his kingdom among them. While he was yet alive.
While he was yet alive. So he gave this guy this portion. He gave this guy this portion and this portion. That's how the Edomites continue their ruling power. All right? Because he shared among his people. And that's how a nation's supposed to be ruling. Not just keep everything to yourself. What? Well, yeah, I mean he gave them the will right there and then. Yes, yeah, something like that. Well, some people will write a will and say, look, this will go to this person and that person. It's just so when the person died, there's no confusion. That's what the will is for. It's a written statement saying these things are going to go to this such and such and such. All right? That's all it is. All right, read on.
Verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years.
So he ruled for 12 years. Read on.
And then died.
And then what?
And then died.
And then died. Read on.
And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
So those servants, those generals that he gave the authority to rule those other kingdoms that he took over, different regions of the world, throughout Asia Minor, all right? Because remember, there weren't no people dwelling on the east part of this world at that time. Everybody, on the west side of the world, on what they call the New World, all right? Everybody was still on the west part of the world, all right? Which is Asia Minor, these areas, all right? Read on.
Verse 9. And after his death,
after Alexander died from his bad syphilis or whatever he had, at Batiman he is, read on.
They all put crowns upon themselves.
So all the generals rose up and put crowns upon themselves. They became king to their own turf. All the turf that they had helped Alexander conquered. So now they controlling those turfs. They ruling their own kingdom. They built their own empires. Read on.
So did their sons after them.
And after they set up shop, they set up these kingdoms. Now that their children's have been passed down to their kids. All right, read on.
So did their sons after them many years.
Many years. Read on.
And evils.
What?
And evils.
And what?
Evils.
And what?
Evils.
Evil. Read on.
Were multiplied in the earth.
So evil became multiplied on on the earth. All right, when these people took over. This is why they had to take this book out, the original 1611 King James Version. Because when you read this, it's exposing the so-called Greeks, the Romans, which is the so-called same people today, the Americans, no matter if you call yourself a Polish, Russian, or whatever, all these people came from the descendants of these same people. They all Edomites, all right? So this is why they had to take the Apocrypha out of the Bible. Read it again. That's verse 9, right? 9. Read verse 9 again.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
They all put crown upon themselves. Read on.
So did their sons after them many years.
Their sons took over the reign and then ruled on. Read on.
And evils.
And what?
Evils.
Evils. All kinds of wickedness, the border of wickedness. Read on.
Were multiplied in the earth.
And that's what Malachi is talking about. All right? In Malachi 1 and 4. What? Right? Anybody knows what I'm talking about, right? Malachi 1 and 4. In Job 9:24, it's talking about the wicked. All right? Yeah, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's when the wicked came into power. All the other kingdoms that came in, they were the Bible never describes their kingdom, their ruling superpowers as evil multiplied on this earth. This man came with all kinds of wickedness that you can't imagine, that you can't even imagine. You know, they were having sex in the streets and women were naked. I mean, the Greeks, they were the worst. And then the Romans came right after them, and pretty much the same people and follow suit. All right? It says evil multiplied in the earth when these people came and took over. Read on.
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root.
A wicked root. Read on.
Antiochus, surname Epiphanes.
Antiochus came out of the same bloodline, one of the kingdoms that one of the generals. All right, after his sons took over. So there comes this man right here by the name of who?
Epiphanes.
What's his name?
Antiochus, surname Epiphanes.
Read on.
Son of Antiochus, the king.
So he's the son of he will be the second. Read on.
Who had been in hostage at Rome.
So he was held hostage in Rome. Read on.
And he reigned in the 137 years of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days, when they're out of Israel, wicked men.
Wicked Negroes. Let's see what these wicked Negroes is going to do. Read on.
Who persuaded many.
Who persuaded many to come and follow them. And that's what we got going on today, this very day. You got wicked Negroes, wicked Israelites who wants to join with their enemies instead of joining with their people. All right? These Negroes better get out of the way. They're going to get put to death when the time comes. All right? It's either you're going to get down or lay down. All right? Read on.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathens.
What the wicked Israelite says?
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Now, you know, that is treason. For you to say, forget your kind. Let's go with the people that's oppressing your kind and killing your kind and hanging your kind and destroying your village and destroying your towns, your temples and everything, and say, let's go make you got to be destroyed and sick in the head for you to even make a statement like that. And that's what you got going on today. Our people will take a bullet for the so-called white men in the other race, right? They'll push them out of the way to fight their battles. Even when the white man is not there, they are defeating their cause. These, you know what I'm saying? That is crazy, man. That is a sick mindset. Read on.
Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
So they said, let's go make a covenant, a deal, because we don't like the way, things are, are running right now. Or they, maybe they could treat us better. Because since we're in captivity, we might as well live good. You got Negroes who think like that. Read on.
With the heathen that are round about us.
That are round about us. Read on.
For since we departed from them.
Read that again.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
So they saying since we departed from the heathens, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. Here you are, slaves by these people, and you saying that they treated you better than your own people and in the laws that the Most High gives you as a culture. So you saying the Greeks is showing you more love than what your fellow brethren and your culture could offer you. Wow, that is a sick mindset. Like I said, the spirits keeps coming back. All right? And those spirits better watch out and get out of the way when that time comes, because a lot of these Negroes are going to be put to death. It's off with your head. All right? We don't have time for wishy-washy Negroes. Read on.
So this device pleased them well.
So this device what kind of device are they referring to? All right? They speaking about the Greeks' custom, homosexuality, gymnasiums, what do you call the arenas, the fights, all these entertainment. That's why you see how people gravitate to play basketball, to be rappers. It's the same spirits keep coming back. You can't get these Negroes to repent, to change, to leave this white man's gymnasium and this football and basketball and all that crap alone. That is not our custom. That's something we learned during the Greeks. Read on.
So this device.
Call the verse. What verse you in?
Verse 12.
Verse 12. Read on.
So this device pleased them well.
So this device, everything that the Greek says, okay, you want to be down with us? Here, take this. You could do that. You could do this. That's selfish Negroes. They're not thinking about their own people. What kind of mindset is that, man? So you're like, forget my people. I want to join with them so they could give me a better way of life for me and my inner circle. Read on.
Verse 13.
That's a selfish Negro, man. And I hate selfish Negroes. Read on.
Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
So let's see. They went to the king and get permission and licenses to do the ordinances of the kings. Let's see what it is. Read on.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise.
A place of what, brethren?
Of exercise.
Gymnasium. To do what? To play ball, to wrestle, to have fun. That's all a Negro want to do is have fun. Why are you getting oppressed by the damn Greeks? What the hell you want to join your oppressor for? What does the scripture say in Proverbs 3:31? Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. Didn't these Negroes read that? Read on.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise.
So the Negroes went and built a gymnasium. Read on.
At Jerusalem.
Where?
At Jerusalem.
Right in the middle of town, of the capital of Jerusalem. At Jerusalem. Read on. At Judea. Read on.
According to the custom of the heathens.
According to the customs. You hear that? Children, if you're watching at home, teenagers, people who loves basketball, football, those things, we learned those things from the Greeks. These are Greek customs. We are gods on this earth. We weren't running around chasing each other with a ball with tights on. The man has on tights with a ball and you chasing him just to say touchdown. I mean, are you kidding me, bro? I don't watch none of that crap, man. Once I got into this knowledge and I got the wisdom, that's what knowledge and wisdom is supposed to make you wise. When you know better, you do better. If you don't know better, then it's one thing. Then you ignorant to something, right? All that brothers is killing themselves to join the NBA and all that stuff. Okay, you go join the NBA. What do you do with the money? You're still not helping your people with it. You're still not coming back to the community to help your kind. It's the same selfish. Just let's move out of the hood. Let's go move with the Jefferson, with the rest of them. Got the little gated communities and so forth and so forth. You're not thinking about let's go pull our people together and build communities of our own, schools and everything. Nah, it's only about the circles around them. Read on.
Verse 15.
Uh-huh.
And made themselves uncircumcised.
They made themselves what?
Uncircumcised.
They didn't even circumcise their kids anymore. Read on.
And forsook the holy covenant.
They took this Bible and just tossed it away. At this point, they don't need it because they said, since we left the way the heathen was treating us, we had many sorrows. Are you kidding me? The sorrows came when he came and destroyed your temple and took over your land. Not the other way around. That is a sick mindset, man. Read on. There's some sick Negroes, man. Read on.
And joined themselves to the heathen.
They joined themselves to the Greeks. Read on.
And were sold to do mischief.
And they were what?
And were sold to do mischief.
They basically sold their soul to do whatever the Greeks were doing. Anything you could imagine that was filthy and wicked, our people joined themselves to that. When you said, let's go get a license to do whatever we want to do, so they, like the scripture said, they just took the book and just frisbee it out of the way, because therefore now you don't need it anymore. You don't have to keep no commandments because the Greeks are in power. All right, read 16 and jump down to 20, and then we're going to jump around.
And when the kingdom was established before Antiochus.
So Antiochus came in and took down Jerusalem, and then he set up his kingdom. Read on.
He taught to reign over Egypt.
Uh-huh.
That he might have the dominion of 2 realms.
So he took, Egypt is right next to Israel, if you look at your map. All right? Egypt is right here, and Israel's right there. That's why we was able to walk out of Egypt. All right? Read on. So he took over Egypt and the surrounding kingdoms that surround it. Basically, he's not going to leave no stones unturned. All right? Read on.
Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude.
With a great multitude. Read on.
With chariots.
With what?
With chariots. And elephants. And horsemen. And a great navy.
And a what?
And a great navy.
You jump down to 20.
Verse 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt.
So after that, King Antiochus the Greek had smitten who?
Egypt.
Read on.
He returned again in the 143rd year.
Read on.
And went up against Israel.
So he goes to the land of Israel. After he saved the best for last. Read on.
And went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
So we came in deep, like we say in the hood. He came with the whole troop. The whole gang came with him. Read on. Came very deep with a great multitude. Read on, because he knows about the Jews. You know, he heard. Read on. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Read on.
Verse 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary.
And he entered proudly because he knows he's untouchable. He haven't been defeated yet. Read on.
And took away the golden altar.
So he took out the golden altar. Read on.
And the candlestick of light.
The candlesticks of lights is the menorah. All right. It was a big. I wish I had the picture to put up. All right. That King David had in the sanctuary. The thing was like, if you look at when you have a time to Google the pictures, you'll see the Romans or even the Assyrians or the Babylonians carrying it out. The thing is so huge. I mean, it took 3 guys to carry it, made out of gold. Read on.
And all the vessels thereof.
And all the gold vessels, all the goodies, they took everything out of the temple. Read on.
Verse 22. And the table of the showbread.
And the table of what?
Of the showbread.
Even the showbread, everything that I wish I had the picture here. Read on.
And the pouring vessels.
So everything that's inside the temple, they took everything. Yes, sir. Oh yeah. Hold on for a minute. Yeah, you're right. Hold on. them to you. I was running late. That's not the book. That's not it? Oh, I'm sorry. The book that I'm looking for is this one here. Okay, it's right here. Move your leg, Bridget. All right, it's right here. Come close. All right, let me show the people what we're talking about here. I'm gonna get straight to it. Yeah. All right, this is the picture here. Right, read it again.
And the table of the showbread.
The table of the showbread. You see the showbread? Where's the showbread? Right there. All right, the showbread is right. The showbread is right here, where I'm aiming at. All right. Read on, Reggie.
And the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censer of gold.
So everything you're seeing in this picture, they took it all. All right, they took it all. Everything that was inside the temple. All right. Let's see another page. I don't see it. There was another page that we had. Yeah, this one here. 1 minute. I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about here. All right, let me see if I can get to it. Hold on. So basically, the way they have it, like, let me show them this one right here. This is what I'm talking about, Israel. This right here. Read it again. And they took what?
And the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornament that were before the temple.
So basically, they just robbed us blind. They took everything. The white man, that's what he does. He goes around and rob and pillage and take everything. There's nothing new under the sun. All right? Where you at right now? What verse?
22.
All right, jump down to 29. We're gonna skip. We're gonna skip through it because, like I said, we're gonna read from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 4, but we're not gonna read the whole entire thing as a novel. We're just going to jump through it a little bit to give you the main parts, but you can read it at home. First Maccabees chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, all right? That's where you'll get the understanding about the Feast of Dedication. So what we're going over about the Feast of Dedications is the Greeks coming over and taking over our cities and destroy Jerusalem and then destroy us as a people and defile our temple and polluted the streets and have our people uncircumcised and so forth and so forth. All right, read on.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 29.
Uh-huh.
And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah.
See, the same thing. Same thing we were just reading. He sent his tax collectors. That's what kings do. They sent their tax collectors to do what? To come collect taxes. Read on.
Who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude.
So he came with a great multitude to pick up to pick up his tax money from our people. Read on.
And spake peaceable words unto them.
Speak. The devil speaks with great smooth words, like we read before. What we did for the other day. The Thanksgiving smooth. His words are smoother than butter. All right. Read on.
And spake peaceable words unto them.
Yeah, I come in peace. I come to collect the money. Yeah, right. Meanwhile, he has a sword behind him. Read on.
But all was deceit.
See? All was deceit. From generation to generations, it's the same thing. Read on.
For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city.
So he fell suddenly upon the city. Let's see what happened.
And smote it very sore.
And what?
And smote it very sore.
So what he did, he went around killing all the people, man. I thought you came here to pick up the tax money. What happened? Because the white man loves blood, man. He loves bloodshed. He gets a kick out of it. All right? They love blood. Read on.
And destroyed much people of Israel.
So they did what?
And destroyed much people of Israel.
They killed our people, man. So this is why they had to take this book out. There's no way in hell they would have kept this book out, the book inside the Bible. This is why people, when you get to the book of Malachi, and then when you look over, it says the book of Matthew. Something is missing. This is missing. The Apocrypha is missing. All right, read on.
And when he had taken spoils of the city,
so he took everything out of the city. Read.
He set it on fire.
He did what?
He set it on fire.
That damn devil. Why you had to set the city on fire? You came to pick up the tribute money. So if you set the city on fire, how are you going to come back next time to collect more? That's not smart. Keep the people working. If you keep them as a slave, the smartest thing to do is keep them doing what they're doing and come back and collect every month, every week, whatever time period you have. Just like the mobsters do. They don't kill you. They just make you work and then come and collect. How's that benefiting you if I kill this guy? I want to collect from him every month. Putting him to death ain't going to benefit me. But that dude was stupid. Read on.
And when he had taken spoil of the city, he set it on fire.
He did what?
He set it on fire.
Read on, Bradley.
And pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side.
So basically, they burnt down everything, man. He just came to the city, to the town, and just demolished everything. It just burnt everything down. That damn devil, man. Read on.
But the women and children.
And so the women and children. Read on.
They took captive.
So they took the women and children captives. Read on. So they could brainwash these children and raise them as their culture into Greek philosophies and ideologies. Read on.
And possessed the cattle.
And what?
And possessed the cattle.
Read on. It took all the cattle, all the herds, all the cattle, because this is how you feed the people. You take that too. Take that, take that, take that. That's coming with us. And the kids and the women. Come on, you come in too. Yeah, you big mama. You come in too. Come on. Read on.
Verse 33.
Read on.
Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall.
So they built what?
Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall.
So these devils built a strong wall, a big. So basically, they set up themselves. This is their headquarters, and build up towers now and strong walls so no enemy could come behind, to come through and try to defeat them. Read on. Call the verse you in. Read on.
Verse 33.
Then
they built the city of David with a great and strong wall.
Read on.
And with mighty towers.
And mighty towers. They got watchmen watching over just in case of incoming danger and enemies. Read on.
And made it a stronghold for them.
See, they made it like this is going to be our headquarters. Isn't that what America does when he went to Iraq? He took one spot, one area in terms of what? This is going to be our base. Our base is going to be set up there. Embassy here, this and that. They just pretty much take over the land and set up shop. Read on. Everywhere they go. Read on.
And they put therein a sinful nation.
So they put up a sinful nation, the Greeks. Read on.
Wicked men.
What?
Wicked men.
When it says wicked men, wicked of them all. Read on.
And fortified themselves therein.
And what?
And fortified themselves therein.
Read on.
They store it also with armor and victuals.
Armor and victuals. Read on. You're going to read right through it.
And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem.
The spoil of Jerusalem. Everything that they took from our temple. All our beautiful gold and silver. Read on.
They laid them up there.
They laid them what?
They laid them up there.
Read on.
And so they became a sore snare.
And what?
And so they became a sore snare.
Unbelievable. Read on.
For it was a place to lie and wait against the sanctuary.
So they turned our place into it's like a whorehouse. They turned the temple into like a whorehouse. They just flipped everything upside down. Read on.
And an evil adversary to Israel.
And what?
And an evil adversary to Israel.
What are the Greeks?
An evil adversary to Israel.
What about the Romans?
An evil adversary to Israel.
What about the English?
An evil adversary to Israel.
Last but not least, what about the Americans?
An evil adversary to Israel.
Read on, brethren.
Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary.
They went around shedding innocent blood. They didn't have to kill the people. You already took over the land. Why you got to go around killing the people? You don't have to do that because you're already ruling, right? There's no need for you to kill innocent women and children. Read on.
Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary.
Because this white man has a thing for blood, man. He has to see blood. Read on.
And defiled it.
And the what?
And defiled it.
Read on. They defiled our this is when they defiled our temple. Read on.
Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
The what?
The inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Read on.
Fled because of them.
So a multitude of our people took off. He said, I'm out of here, man. Maybe we could regroup and come back and do something later. But for now, let's get the hell out of here. Run out of Dodge. Read on.
Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers.
So basically now the whole city is run by strangers, the Greeks. Read on.
And became strange to those that were born in her.
So those that were born as citizens of this land, it become a strange thing to them because they don't even recognize what they're seeing. They seeing weird statues, the temple's all defiled and ruined and upside down. They got whores in it. I mean, read on.
And her own children left her.
So the children of Israel just take off. Those that could get away, just run. Read on.
Her sanctuary was laid waste.
What happened to the sanctuary?
Her sanctuary was laid waste.
So they turned our sanctuary waste. I mean, you can imagine the defiled things you could picture in your head that was going on in there. Knowing that the Greeks came with all kinds of crazy madness. All right? They are the wicked of them all. Read on.
Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness.
Like a wilderness. Like you couldn't even recognize the homeland. Like if you was a stranger coming in to visit, you're like, what the hell happened to this place? You know, it looked like after Sandy here in New York. Like you couldn't recognize certain towns. You're like, damn, it looked like somebody came and dropped a bomb. All right, read on.
Her feast were turned into mourning.
So the feast days turns into people crying. There's no gladness. Like right now, today's the Feast of Dedication. We're supposed to be high temple, gladness, high spirit. All right, because the feast days, this is when you get to see brothers and sisters that you haven't seen in a while or you haven't seen since the Sabbath. All right? So you're supposed to have gladness and joy in your heart for your brothers and sisters because the Most High give us this wonderful feast days to keep. Read on.
Her feast were turned into mourning.
So the feast days turn into crying and mourning. Mothers crying after their child. Mothers crying after their husband that's been smitten before them. All right? And the women are crying because they've been separated from their children and their husbands. Read on.
Her Sabbaths into reproach.
So the Sabbath they couldn't even keep no more, which we're going to read. Jump down to 40. 41.
The book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41.
Read on.
Moreover.
This what we're reading here, this is where America got his way of doing things from his forefathers, the Greeks. All right? The same concept of ruling and bringing all nations together under one banner. All right? That's what we're about to read right now. 1 Maccabees 1:41. Read that.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
So all should be what?
One people.
Isn't that what America have here? One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So what happened to the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans? Where's the liberty and justice for the all? Because that does not apply to you. That's talking about to all his people, all Caucasian race coming together. When they were reading the Declaration of Independence, Negro, you was in the backyard at the plantation. So it's obviously that does not apply to you in 1776. Read on.
Verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws.
So if you, whatever nation you with and whatever laws and heritage and customs you were keeping, leave that behind. Because there's a new law been implemented by the Senate of and the House of Representatives of the Greeks. Read on.
So all the heathens agreed according to the commandments of the king.
So all the other nations says, okay, I mean, it is what it is. You ruling. All right, you want us to do this and that? Let's just do it. Read on.
Yeah, Many also of the Israelites.
Many what?
Many also of the Israelites.
Many of also of our people. Here we go again. Read on.
Consented to his religion.
See, it's always a remnant. Always want to go and join their enemies, man. They always want to go and join the so-called white man. It's the same spirits you see now. Always want to go and join their enemies, man. Come on.
And sacrificed unto idols.
They did what?
And sacrificed unto idols.
And you know that is blasphemy for an Israelite to be sacrificing unto idols in Jerusalem on top of it. That is the worst of violations that you can imagine. Read on.
And profaned the Sabbath.
They did what?
And profaned the Sabbath.
And filthy the Sabbath. God knows what the hell these people were doing on the Sabbath day with these women in that place. And you know the Greeks, they're like the no-limit soldiers. Anything goes. All right? Anything goes with these Greeks. Read on.
44.
Uh-huh.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem.
So they have said what?
The king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem.
For what? Read on.
And the cities of Judah.
So he sent basically letters, meaning what? The laws to be kept. Read on.
That they should follow the strange laws of the land.
So they just passed a new law and they sent it and said, look, sent this out to all the neighboring cities and the villages and the towns. Let the people know these are the laws, and these are the laws that they have to follow suit. All right? Read on.
45.
Uh-huh.
And forbid burnt offerings.
So as far as the Israelites, forget about your burnt offerings and your high holy days. Forget about that. That's all done now. There's a new law in town and a new sheriff, all right, named Antiochus Epiphanes. Read on.
And sacrifice.
And forget about the daily sacrifices. So if you sin, forget about it. It's all good with Antiochus because according to him, you don't have to make. Where's the priest? The temple is defiled. How are you going to go there and make a sacrifice anyway? A defiled temple. Read on.
And drink offerings.
And drink offerings. Read on.
In the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths.
They should do what?
That they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
And the feast days. The festival days meaning the feast days, like today. The Feast of Dedication, based upon what we're reading today. That's how that came about. All right, winning the temple over and winning getting our nation back in order, put our people back in Jerusalem from white supremacy, called AKA the Greeks. All right, read on.
46.
46. Read on.
And pollute the sanctuary.
They did all kinds of pollution in the sanctuary. You couldn't even go in there from the things that you were seeing. Read on.
And holy people.
And holy people. Read on.
Set up altars.
And groves. Read on.
And groves.
Read on.
And chapels of idols.
All kinds of stupid statues these people were putting up, man, of themselves, of the king, Antiochus. All kinds of stupid things, man. Defile our temple. That's what these people did, man. Read on.
And sacrifice swine's flesh.
And they did what?
And sacrifice swine's flesh.
They were sacrificing swine, pig's flesh. And you know that's not of our custom to deal with the animal, with the pig animal. It is forbidden for the Israelites to eat that stuff. You know, when you go to our dietary laws in Leviticus 11 and 7, all right, we don't eat swine, we don't eat pig. So when the heathen came, they came with all kinds of abomination. Read on.
And unclean beasts.
All kinds of unclean animals that we are not supposed to be eating, but they bring that stuff in the temple. Therefore, now the temple is defiled, completely gone, polluted with pollution. Why? Because the wicked is in power. Read on.
48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
So mothers couldn't even circumcise their children on the 8th day, according to our laws and heritage. Because when a mother have a child, on the 8th day, you're supposed to go and circumcise that child. All right? According to the covenant he made with Abraham of circumcision. All right? Passed down to Moses. All right? This is a Israelite custom. All right? You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans custom to circumcise your child on the 8th day. Read on.
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and And profanation.
And profanation. Read on.
49.
Uh-huh.
To the end they might forget the law.
So by the time those children grow up, they're going to do what?
Forget the law.
What happened when they brought us here on slavery? What happened to our children?
They forget the law.
And that's what happened. As time goes on, the children's children, they're going to forget all about their culture. Just like the Willie Lynch. All right? You can't hear it from the YouTube. It's not like my recording. If I put this away, you can't hear it. All right, but the thing is, what happened is when the children's children grow up, that's how they became Gentiles. So now when you get to the book of the Paul's letters, he's speaking about the Gentiles, which we're going to read here. That's how our people became Gentiles, because they became a Gentile state of mind. That's all you know. The schools you go to, the ideologies, the Greeks were teaching them, they became Gentiles in a state of mind. All right, just like the people growing up here become Americans. But are they Americans by blood, nationality? No. They are American by citizenship, but we are Israelites living in the land of our oppressors. Read on, brethren.
And change all the ordinances.
And did what?
And change all the ordinances.
All the laws, all the ordinances and feast days and practices that we kept, they changed all that stuff. He said, you know what? That looks good, but we won't be needing this anymore because King Antiochus just put this in place now. Read on.
Verse 50.
Uh-huh.
And whosoever.
That's the main point right here. This is how we became Gentiles permanently during those times. Read on.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king.
So what happened to them?
He said he should die.
What does the king says?
He should die.
So what happened if our people weren't growing up to be like Greeks?
He should die.
The children?
He should die.
Read on.
In the self-same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom.
Read on.
And appointed overseers.
Appointed what?
Appointed overseers.
And that's what America has, the same thing. Appoint ambassadors and garrisons to these other in these other people's land to make sure you're doing what we told you to do, what we tell you to do. All right? Read on. Overseers, just like when we had overseers in Egypt. Taskmasters. People watching over you, make sure you're keeping the laws. That's what the police is for. It's to make sure that you abide by the law. If you break the law, then we bring you into what? Judgment. All right? Read on.
In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom.
To all the kingdoms, all the nations that he done took over, all the lands. Read on.
And appointed overseers over all the people.
Most likely they'll be like governors and stuff like that. If I take over this land over there and set up a governor there to make sure, this is why Herod became a governor of Judea. He's an overseer to make sure the people are doing what the king says. That's his job. His job is to make sure that we're following and abiding by the laws. That's what the governor's job is. Just like they have governors for each state. Set up the laws by the federal law. Read on.
Commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
You see that? That's a commandment by the Greeks' laws to sacrifice filthy animals. Read on.
Verse 52.
As a matter of fact, let me see if we're going to jump. Jump to, let me see what we got here. You know, read the 29 to 64. Where you at right now? All right, read. Good. It's getting to the good part. All right.
Verse 52. Then many of the people were gathered unto them. To wit, everyone that forsook the law.
So everyone that forsook the laws, read on.
And so they committed evils in the land.
And did what?
And so they committed evils in the land.
So therefore, all Israel was committing evil because why? They couldn't keep their ordinances, the feast days. All right? The culture that was given to us, by Moses as the laws, statutes, and commandments. We couldn't keep any of our feast days and our Sabbath. So we had to keep the laws of the Greeks because why? We were going to put you were going to be put to death if you didn't follow suit, basically. Read on.
And drove the Israelites into secret places.
So most of our people ran into where?
Into secret places.
Like caves and everything else. Yes. Wait, let me give the sister the microphone. Yeah.
So I was researching this chapter, and it even talked about women that were even circumcising their children. They were put to death. So there was some women that they were trying to keep, the laws.
Exactly.
And they
were put to death. Exactly. Which we're gonna read down here. Yeah, it's right on that chapter. Read on.
And drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
So wherever our people could run to for security, for a safety net, they just ran. It took off. Read on.
54. Now the 15th day of the month, Kislev, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar.
So they set up all kinds of altars, all kinds of filthy madness upon the altar. So it wasn't even an altar anymore. It was just a filthy place, like a whorehouse. All right, read on.
And builded idol altars throughout the city of Judah on every side. And burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets.
Jump down to 54. I'm on 56. Oh, 50. I'm sorry, my fault. I'm looking at something at 54 here. That's why. All right, we keep reading, bro.
56. And when they had rent in pieces the book of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire.
They did what?
They burnt them with fire.
So what did these people did to our book?
They burned them with fire.
The white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. So why would our people be trying to kill themselves to bring these people into our covenant when they know that this book has nothing to do with them? Because our people does not read, and this is why they had to take this book out of the Bible. Because there's no way in hell you're going to try to include another nation with your book. This book has nothing to do with them. This is why they was doing what?
Burn them with fire.
You got to read in the mic, bro. All right. They did what?
Sorry about that. And when they had rent in pieces the book of the law which they found, they burned them with fire.
So if they catch any person reading out of the Bible or any Bible around, they burnt those Bibles with fire. They burnt them up. Yes, sir. Give them the mic, please.
This same book, the Maccabees, even in the 70s, I remember if they had this book called the Maccabees, that you would go to prison for it.
Same thing in Jamaica, in the islands.
Yes.
This book right here is forbidden to be, to have in the islands.
Yeah, when I was younger, my grandmother told me about that before I even knew anything about this.
Yeah.
Well, she knew that her mother taught her that the Roman Catholic Church was going around looking for anybody who had this book, the book of the Maccabees, and they will burn it. And if you refuse to give it up, they will kill you.
And that's what year period is that? 60s, 70s, even 50s. See, they know, because they know if people read this, they're gonna put two and two together. Yes, just real quick.
When I was researching the Maccabees, just to get information, I searched it and I see that now they're going to start to include the Maccabees and put it back in the Bible, because they're saying that, it's
part of the Bible.
Right. And it reminded me of some of your classes when you say our people are waking up.
Yeah.
And our people are, Israel is coming back together and they're waking up. I immediately, when I saw that, I said, oh, you know what? This is like an eye-opener right here.
And besides, the people, if they don't have the 1611, they go and buy it separately, like we have here, this little red book, the Apocrypha. All right? So you could buy it separately, or you could buy the 1611, which comes with it. It's just a little more expensive. That's all. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. All right, let's read through that real quick. Jump down to 60.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 60. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women.
So they put to death what?
Certain women.
Read on.
that had caused their children to be circumcised.
You see, that's what you were talking about, right, sis? Yeah, see, so the children, the women that was doing it secretly, once the Greeks find out, they were put to death. Because that's the new law. You're going against the law. You transgress the law, it's death. But the wages of transgressing the law is death. Read on. Same thing with this country. You break a law, you go to jail, or if it's a murder, you get put to death. Read on.
Verse 61. And they hang the infants about their necks.
What they did to the children?
They hang the infants about their necks.
You see what the Greeks were doing to our children? So when you said you want to bring the so-called Edomite, the white man, into your covenant, what were they doing to our people?
Hang the infants about their necks.
It was just not the Greeks did. I mean, the Romans did. The Spaniards, when they came back in the Renaissance, as Spain, as the French, as the German, Russian, English, they all did it. It's the same spirit keeps coming back. The same devilish and wicked spirit. Read on.
And rifled their houses.
And it burnt down the houses. Read on.
And slew them that had circumcised them.
And slew every person that has circumcised their child. Now go to chapter 1. They could read the rest at home when they own time. And we're going to run right through it because chapter 1 or 2? I'm in chapter 2. Chapter 2, verse 1.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John.
Make sure everybody got that. Put them on the okay. All right. 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1.
In those days arose Matthias, the son of John.
The son of John. Matthias, the son of John. Read on.
The son of Simeon.
The son of who?
Of Simeon.
Read on.
A priest of the sons of Joram.
So Matthias was what? A Levite. The Levites, we don't play no games, man. You see what we did to the French in 1804. Play no games. All right, read on.
From Jerusalem and dwelt in Modin.
In Modin, read on.
And he had 5 sons.
So Matthias had how many sons?
5 sons.
So he had 5 sons. Read on.
Joannan.
Who?
Joannan.
Read on.
Called Cadiz.
Called who?
Cadiz.
Read on.
Simon.
Who?
Simon.
Simon. Very key point. Read on.
Called Thassi.
Read on.
Judas.
Who?
Judas.
Read on.
Who was called Maccabeus.
Who was called what?
Maccabeus.
Judas Maccabeus. Focus on that name right here. All right? Read on. You're going to read down to 16, then we're going to jump.
Elijah. Called Avaran.
Called who?
Avaran.
Read on.
And Jonathan.
And who?
And Jonathan. Whose surname was Aphus.
All right. Where you at right now? You on
6.
You on 6. All right. Jump down. Yeah, keep reading. Keep reading, as a matter of fact.
Verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah.
So Matthias got up and said, what the hell is going on here with my country? Read on. So somebody got to do something about this thing. Read on.
And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem.
So he's seeing what's going on in the homeland. Place being burnt down, children being put to death, and women and child. Somebody got to step up. Ain't that right, fellas?
That's right.
Read on.
He said, woe is mine.
He said, woe is me. I mean, you might as well kill me too. You're going to kill my people, you might as well kill me too, right? Read on.
Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people?
He said, was I born to see the death of my people? You might as well just kill me too. That's a man that has love for his nation. Not no wicked Negro running, talking about let's go make a covenant with these same people that just did to your child, to your children, and the women, and the people that you grew up with, you went to school with. And you're going to just see all these bodies and then turn around and say, let me go make a covenant with those that's doing this to us? You got to be sick in your freaking head, man. Literally be sick. That's a sick mind. Yeah, give up the mic. Go ahead, brethren.
What more sicker is when the people literally follow them afterwards.
Because you're always going to have a multitude that follows after the same spirits, because those same spirits knows one another. And then some is just being blind following, because why? Because of fear. Some people were just doing it because of fear. They were afraid to die. All right? This chapter right here, especially when we get to verse 50, is going to clarify that. Read on.
Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people?
So Mattathias said, wait a minute, was I born this day to see the destruction of my people and my homeland, Israel, in Jerusalem? Read on.
And of the holy city.
And of the holy city of Jerusalem, the city of peace, turns into a whorehouse. Read on.
And to dwell there.
And to dwell there. Read on.
When it was delivered into the hand of the enemy.
So the city got took over by the Greeks. Read on.
And the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
The sanctuary, the temple got taken over by the Greeks. Read on.
Her temple is become as a man without glory.
A man without glory. You don't have a kingdom. Because without your glory, what kind of king are you? Read on.
Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity.
Because your possessions, your vessels is what, defines you. Your gold, your vessels, your cattle. That's what defines a man back in those times. Read on.
Her infants.
Her what?
Her infants.
The young ones. Read.
Are slain in the streets.
So this is what Matthias saw that we read before. All the children are slain in the streets. These people had no hearts, man. They had they just have no understanding, period. They just want to see blood. That's it. It's the same spirits back all over again. Read on.
Her young men with the sword of the enemy.
With the sword with the enemy. Read on. Of the enemy.
Verse 10.
Verse 10. That's a good point right here.
What nation have not had a part in her kingdom?
So Matthias is saying, what nation has not have a part of destroying our kingdom? First was the Syrians, then came the Babylonians, then came the Medes, now comes the Persians, and then now is the Greeks. He said, what? Read it again, brother.
What nation have not had a part in her kingdom?
Has not had a part of destroying our kingdom. Read on.
And gotten of her spoils.
And got all our pleasant vessels, all our beautiful gold and silver. Read on.
All her ornaments are taken away.
They took everything away out of the temple and all the other places that we had them. Read on.
Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave.
She has become what?
She is become a bond slave.
Read on.
And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste. And the Gentiles.
And who?
And the Gentiles.
Those are Gentiles. These are the original Gentiles, all right? The white people are Gentiles. The Greeks, Romans are Gentiles, all right? Read on.
Have profaned it.
Had what?
Have profaned it.
Had profaned and polluted our temple. Read on.
To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer?
So to what end, he says, should we live any longer? We might as well just be put to death. What are we going to do? All right? Read on.
Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes.
What verse you in right now?
14.
14. Read on.
Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth.
And put on sackcloth because why? They are in mourning for their nation. This is a custom of the Israelites. We put on sackcloths and throw ashes over our heads because we in mourning. All right? Or we are fasting. When we in mourning, and this is how we, it's a tradition. All right, read on.
And put on sackcloth and mourned very sore.
Mourned very sore. All right, read on. Because of the destruction of what he's seen of his people. Read on.
In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt.
To revolt against what? Their Lord. Read on.
Into the city, Modin.
Molding. Read on.
To make them sacrifice.
To make what?
To make them sacrifice.
To make them sacrifices. Read on.
And when many of Matthias also and his son came together.
Read on.
Then answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on this wise, thou art a ruler.
He said, are you a ruler? Thou art a ruler. Read on.
And an honorable and great man.
So he's giving them, a gift of gay, he's charming them. You are a ruler. Let's see what he's trying to, profess to him. Let's see what he's trying to offer him. Read on.
And an honorable and great man in this city.
He's trying to butter him up. Read on.
And strengthen with sons and brethren.
And you strengthen yourself with good men that believe in you, that's willing to hold you down. Read on.
Now therefore.
What verse you in? Call the verse.
Verse 18.
So put the verse up. Verse 18. Read on.
Now therefore come thus first. And fulfill the king's commandments.
So why don't you come here and fulfill the king's commandment? Let's see what our forefathers, Matthias did. Read on.
Like as all the heathen had done.
See, just like the other heathens did, why don't you come, you and your sons and your pals that's running with you, come. Let's see what the king could offer you. Maybe he could offer you something better. Maybe he could give you a high position in the kingdom. Read on.
Yeah. And the men of Judah also.
And the men that are with you. Read on.
And such as remain at Jerusalem.
And such that remains at Jerusalem. Read on.
So shalt thou in thy house be in the number of the king's friends.
So you see that? You come join us, you be within the house of the king's friends. You be best pals and buddies. You hear this devil, how he's trying to butter him up? All right? Read on.
And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
You say what?
And thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
You see how the devil trying to get to him? If you come and join the king with your powerful men, we're going to make you best friends. We're going to give your children the best of the best schools. Your wife, she's going to be taken care of. She's going to be like she works in this kingdom. Why? Because he's seeing the opposition. He's seeing that this man is a threat to his kingdom. So why don't we butter these Negroes up, just like America has done with all our great leaders, and put them in high positions of power? Why? But now you're going to forget about your own, because now you're living good. As long as your immediate family is good, you're good. That's how the brain works. All right, psychology right there. Read on.
Then, verse 19. Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice. Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him.
He says what?
Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him.
So Matthias says with a loud voice, though these other nations and these kings obey you, read on.
And fall away, everyone, from the religion of their fathers.
Even from their own culture and their own religions, those nations, read on.
And give consent to his commandments.
And then give consent in keeping your ways of life and your kingdoms and your commandments. Read on.
Verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren.
And my brethrens, read on.
Walk in the covenant of our fathers.
That's right. And that's how you stand, all right, and fight for what you believe in. All right? Matthias was a man's man, like they said. All right? That's a man's man right here. All right? He says, though these other kings bow down to you, though these other nations leave their laws and their religious practice to bow down to your commandments, but me and my sons and my brethren, we're going to keep the laws of our fathers. Meanwhile, while he's saying that, the king's you can't imagine this guy's face. Like, it's like, this Negro can't be serious. I just offered you a partnership to be in the kingdom with me, be best friends and buddies, and take care of your whole family, and you're going to deny something like that? How many Negroes till this very day would have took upon that offer? How many Negroes in the truth who say they bout this life would have taken that offer? There's a lot of our brothers and sisters, sooner or later, the Spirit's going to reveal itself, who's really about this walk and who's really about this life. All right? It's the same thing like I always said in the streets. If you're about that life, you're about that life. If you was never about it, sooner or later, you're going to be exposed. If you're not willing to die for that flag that you flagging, when you was doing dirt and wickedness, it's the same thing in this truth. You got to be willing to die for this. It's the same thing. There's no ifs, ands about it. Read on.
Verse 21. God forbid.
God forbid, he said. Oh, hell no. Read on.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances.
God forbid we should forget our culture, our heritage, and follow you wicked, Edomites. Read on.
We will not hearken to the king's words.
He's telling him straight in his face. We will not hearken into the king's commandments. Read on.
To go from our religion.
To leave our culture and heritage. Read on.
Either on the right hand or the left.
Neither, we're not going towards the left or the right. We're standing firm, straight. All right? This is how you, this right here, whatsoever was written aforetimes, fellas, is written for what? Hello? Hello, everybody with me? Whatsoever is written aforetime is written for what?
I'll learn.
That's right. This is what we're learning. This is where you're supposed to. If you're weak in this truth, when you read the book of Maccabees, that's how you build up your faith, brothers. All right? If you're an Israelite and you still got that, weak spirit because America has beaten you down and took the lion spirit out of you, when you read these scriptures right here, that right there should just, motivate you and build you up to where now you have to, because the Most High has not given us what? The spirit of what? Of fear. All right? Like 2 Timothy 2:7 says. Read on.
Verse 23.
Uh-huh.
Now when he had left speaking these words.
Now after he done put that Edomite in his place and tell him about himself. Read on.
There came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was in Modin.
Listen to this Negro right here. I want you to pay close attention. Listen to this right here. Read that part again. What verse is that? Call it and read
23.
It. Verse 23. Put that up. All right. Verse 23.
Now when he had left speaking these words.
So right after he done put the devil in his place and tell him about himself, tell him to go screw yourself. And tell the king this. Tell him I said it. I'm going to keep the laws of my forefathers. All right. He can take whatever he has and shove it up his behind. But as for me and my house, like Samuel says, we're going to keep the commandments. All right? Read on. Like Joshua said, I'm sorry. Joshua said, Joshua 24:15 and 16. As for me and my house, we're going to keep the commandments of the Most High, whether it's by death or whatever comes upon us. Read on.
Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice.
In the sights of all. While everybody's standing there watching, picture this scene. Here comes some wicked Israelite coming around with his filthiness to do a sacrifice. Read on.
To sacrifice on the altar.
To sacrifice on the altar what?
Which is at Modin.
Which is at Modin, at the city where Matthias was at. Read on.
According to the king's commandments.
So he's keeping the commandments of the king. He's keeping the law of the land. The king said, okay, this is what you got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice pigs and unlawful animals. So Matthias and his brethren are picturing this scene. This guy like, what the hell this Negro's about to do? Read on.
Verse 24. Which thing, when Matthias saw.
When Matthias seen that, read on.
He was inflamed with zeal.
Oh, man, he was infuriated. He said, what the hell is wrong with you, brethren? Read on.
And his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment.
Oh, he couldn't hold it no more, man. He couldn't hold it no more. You know, when you're infuriated and you see somebody doing something that displeases you, that you dislike, and especially this thing's supposed to be sacred. This is the holy temple, man. And you about to go sacrifice some unlawful animal? Watch what our forefathers did. Read on. Read on, brethren.
Verse 24. Which thing, when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal.
He was what?
Inflamed with zeal.
He was inflamed with zeal. You could see the red in his eyes. And you know when a black man is mad, we coming at you, we just want to see that blood. Read on.
And his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment.
According to what?
According to judgment.
Read on.
Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar.
What did Matthias did?
He ran and slew him upon the altar.
And that's how we got to be, fellas. You know, when we see a brother coming amongst us or somebody that don't want to keep the commandments, you got to check him right on the spot. It's the same thing. You got to put him in his place. You got to correct the brother if the brother's doing wrong or if he's doing it ignorantly. But if the brother's doing willingly to profane the holy days and that brother's coming around you, you got to get that brother out of here. Get him out. All right? So that's the same zeal we have to have for this truth. Read on.
Verse 25. Also, the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time.
So he killed them all. So he ran up in the altar and then slain that Israelite brother. He put him to death. For why? For sacrificing swine's flesh on the altar. All right? So let's see where we at right now. Chapter 48, 1 to 48. All right, read down a little bit, and then we're gonna jump. 20. Where you at? What verse? 26.
25.
25. Read on.
He killed at that time. At the altar he pulled down.
And he killed them, and he pulled down that altar because they had statues and groves, knocked them all down. So he came in there causing havoc. Read on.
26. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God.
So he dealt what?
Zealously for the law of God.
You hear that, brothers? We got to be what?
Zealously for the law of God.
You got to be zealous for the law of God. You hear that, Israel? So for all the brothers that's weak in the knees like SWV, all right, you got to build some, some cojones, man. We got to be tough, man. We got to get rid of that weak nature, like 2nd Ezra says. Put off that weak nature and put on that wolf spirit, that lion spirit, all right? That manly spirit. And that's how we got to be zeal for this truth. Because this is all we got. Like Nino said, we all we got, and this is all we got. And we got to be ready to die for it. Read on.
Verse 26. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God.
Be zealous of what?
For the law of God.
Now jump down to 50. It's straight to it.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 50.
Now, as a matter of fact, start with 40. Let me see, 41. Let me see then. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, start with 44. Start with 44.
The book of First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 44. So they joined their forces.
So they what?
So they joined their forces. And smart sinful men.
So Matthias joined forces with other groups that joined them and went around killing sinful Negroes and sinful Greeks. All right, read on.
So they joined their forces and smart sinful men in their anger.
And sinful men, all the Israelites that were doing the customs of the Greeks at the time, and also the Greeks. Read on.
And wicked men.
And what?
And wicked men.
And wicked men. That's talking about the Greeks. Read on.
In their wrath.
And what?
In their wrath.
In their anger. So move out the way. It's either you're going to get down or lay down. Read on.
But the rest fled to the heathen for succor.
So the rest of our people ran to who?
To the heathen for succor.
For security, for safety. Matthias and them are killing us out there. We need your help. Isn't that what our people do? They run to the police when we teaching the word. When we trying to bring out the truth, it's the same thing. Oh, they over here teaching hate. They teaching hate. That's against the law. They're a hate group. Read on.
Then Matthias and his friends went round about.
So they went round about. Read on.
And pulled down the altars.
So they're going around just pulling out all the statues, all the filthiness, and all the groves and statues and all kinds of madness. Read on.
Verse 46. And what children soever they found within the cast of Israel. And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel, uncircumcised.
On what?
Uncircumcised. Those they circumcised valiantly.
So they didn't even care. They just do it right there on the spot. Man, Matthias and them was no games, man. Matthias is no joke. Play no games. And that's the type of zeal and the spirit. That's why, I tell brothers, you got to read the book of the Maccabees if you want to build up your spirit. You know, you want to have that raw lion spirit. You know what I'm saying? Some people just have it and some people don't, but you have to build it. Some of us, we just kind of lost it because we've been effeminized, you know, by the spirit and that culture that's going on here in America, by this effeminate spirit, that gay spirit, effeminize our men. All right? Read on.
Verse 47. They pursued also after the proud men.
So they pursued also after the Greeks. Read on. And our people. Read on.
And the work prospered in their hand.
And the what?
And the work prospered in their hand.
Read on.
48. So they recovered the law out of the hand.
What Matthias did and his sons?
They recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles.
You see that? We went and got our book back. That's right. We got our book back. Remember, most of them, what we read in chapter 1, if you would catch reading the Bible, I mean, it wasn't the Bible at the time, the scrolls, all right, the laws, you would put to death, and they burnt the book, the writings, the laws. All right, read on. So we recover our books back from them. Read on.
And out of the hand of kings.
And of the hands of those kings. Read on.
Neither suffered they the sinner of triumph.
Neither suffered them to overcome us. Read on.
Now when the time drew near that Matthias should die.
There you go. Now Matthias is reaching to age of death now. He's about to die. Read on. Listen to this.
He said unto his sons.
So he's just like Jacob called all his sons in Genesis 49. Gather yourselves together and hear what your fathers got to tell you that's coming to you in the latter days. Read on.
Now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength.
He says, read it again.
Now have pride and rebuke.
So he said, make sure you have pride of what you believe in, and stand firm for what you believe in, and rebuke. All right? Take no crap and rebuke right there on the spot. All right? Read on.
Now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and wrath of indignation.
And wrath of indignation. All right? Don't play around when it comes to these laws. Don't play around when it comes to these law, statutes, and commandments in this culture. All right? Stand firm and rebuke right there on the spot. If you gotta put them to death, put them to death. Now that's how a father talked to his sons. Not this effeminate stuff we see going on in this world right now. Read on.
Verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law.
What Matthias says to his sons?
Be ye zealous for the law.
So brothers, we got to do what?
Be zealous for the law.
Read on.
And give your lives.
And what?
And give your lives.
And what?
And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
Read it again.
Verse 50.
So when you come to serve the Most High.
Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous.
Yes, hold on for a minute. Yes. Plug it. If it's not plugged. Yeah. All right, my fault. Go ahead.
Verse 50. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law.
So be ye zealous for the law. Be ready to die for the Lord. Read on.
And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
And give your lives for the covenants of your fathers. Because our forefathers died for this. Read on.
Verse 51. Call to remembrance what act our fathers did in their time.
So remember what your fathers did in their time. See, what Matthias is doing is using the same pattern. What our forefathers did and died for this truth, died for the word, that's the same thing as generations and generations to come. And that's the same spirit we got to have. Read on.
So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name.
So this is him blessing his sons. Read on.
52. Was not Abraham found faithful?
So now he's going to go through a list of all our brothers, our forefathers. Now jump down to 49 to 70. Let me see. Jump down to 60. Go down to 61. Yeah, jump down to 61 and read down, and then we're going to jump to chapter 3. We're going to go right through
the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2, and verse 61. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man.
Read that again.
Fear not then the words of a sinful man.
Don't listen to no sinful men, no sinful heathen. Don't be afraid of them, because the Most High is with us. All right? If the Most High is with us, whom shall we fear? Does it the Benjamite sings that? If Jah is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid? Right? They sing it in the songs. Right? All praises to the Most High, right? Read on.
62. Fear not then the words of a sinful man.
Don't fear no sinful, wicked Edomites. Read on.
For his glory shall be dung and worms.
So his glory shall turn to what?
Dung and worms.
To poop and worms. Dung, that's poop. Crap. To worms. Buried 6 foot, 7 feet, whatever, deep down. Bury those cockroaches. All right? Read on.
63.
Yeah.
Today he shall be lifted up.
So today those groups might be ruling just like America's ruling right now. Read on.
And tomorrow he shall not be found.
You can't even find him. Like, what happened to that nation that was once a ruling power? All right? All right, where you at right now?
63.
63. Read on.
Because he is returned into his dust.
So he returned into his dust. All right, jump down to 60. Read on to 64. Read on.
64. Wherefore ye my sons.
So he's speaking to his sons. So therefore, hear my sons. Listen up.
Be valiant.
Be what?
Be valiant.
Be valiant in what?
And show yourselves men in the behalf of the law.
So that's why. That's how he's quoting 1 Kings, right? I mean 2 Kings 2. Was that 1 Kings 2 and 2? To show thyself a man. Yeah. All right. That's what he's quoting right there. So he's quoting the law. All right. That's how you become a man, by keeping the commandments and follow suit after the commandments and be ready to die for it. All right. Read on.
For by it,
the laws, the commandments,
shall ye obtain glory.
So by it, the Most High will glorify you. All right? If you stand up for it, the Most High will always be with you. It will protect you. Read on.
65. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel.
So he's speaking amongst the boys. I know your brother Simon, he's a man of counsel. Read on.
Give ear unto him always.
So he's saying, Simon, you're going to be the councilman. So everybody got to attend to his counsel. All right? So he's the councilary, what you would call it. Read on.
He shall be a father unto you.
So he shall be what?
A father unto you.
So he'll be the father figure, giving great counsel to us as an assembly. Read on.
As for Judas Maccabaeus.
As for Judas,
he hath been mighty and strong.
Judas is mighty and strong. So he'll be the lead guy. Read on.
Even from his youth up.
Even from his what?
Even from his youth.
He's always been a bad man since he was young. All right? Read on.
Let him be your captain.
Let him be what?
Let him be your captain.
Let him be the captain of the team. Since his youth up, some people just have that spirit, man. That's just the way it is. Some people are made to be leaders, and some people are made to be followers. Some people be soldiers. Everybody got to play their role. You can't be you can't be everybody. Everybody's got a different spirits. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people just have certain spirits, and that's just what it is. Read on.
And fight the battle of the people.
And what?
And fight the battle of the people.
And there's no envy between that. You play your role, he plays his role. Guess what? We are one collective body. We hold each other out. If I'm gonna go to war, I have to go to the councilman, because the councilman got to tell me, okay, what's the strategy for this war? Do you think I could take this nation down? How many men do I need for me to go to war? You got to take counsel. So, and then up likewise for the other brothers that's among them, because you can't do it by yourself. That's what you call a cabinet. Just like a president has a cabinet before you go to war. Read on.
Verse 67.
Read.
Take also unto you all those that observe the law.
So all those that believe in the same thing, take these men with you. Great men, because they have the same zeal. Make them one army. Don't leave them behind. They believe the same thing. Bring these brethren right along for the war. Read on.
And avenge ye the wrong of your people.
There you go. You're supposed to do what?
Avenge ye the wrong of your people.
Is the Negroes doing that today? No. When one of our brothers and sisters get killed in the street, everybody's like, well, maybe he did. Maybe he did have a gun. That's excuses. The Chinaman don't see it like that. The Arabs doesn't see it like that. If you're killing their people in the street like that, there'll be an uproar in this country. But the Negroes and Hispanics, we don't see each other as a family, because we see each other as Americans. Oh, he's just another American that did something wrong. Because as long as you have this American state of mind, you will never stand up for your true culture and your true heritage. And besides, you don't know who your people are. You don't know who you are. You think you're an American. You're not an American. You're an Israelite. The 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and those that are scattered abroad. All right, read on.
Verse 68.
Read.
Recompense fully the heathen.
You hear that? Recompense. That's why when you read 2 Thessalonians 1:6, it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to those that bother you. Right? Read it again.
Recompense fully the heathen.
If the heathens want to go to war, we go to war. Recompense fully the heathens. Don't take no crap from them. Read on.
And take heed to the commandments of the law.
And take heed to the commandments of the Most High. Like Acts 5:29 says, we are to obey God rather than men, the God of our fathers. All right? Now jump down to the 3rd chapter, verse 1. Read 69 and 70 real quick and jump down to verse 1.
Verse
chapter 1.
69. So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers.
So he blessed the brothers and he gathered them. He told them, look, this is the ranking order. All right? Simon, you're going to do this. Judas is the leader. This guy, you play your position and you hold each other down. Chapter 3. Let's move on.
Chapter 3. Then his son Judas, called Maccabaeus, rose up in his stead.
So Judas took took on the throne now. He's ruling now. Read on.
And all his brethren helped him.
And all what?
And all his brethren helped him.
You see that? There weren't no envy. Everybody plays their position. Right? Not everybody could be leaders. So this guy is this guy is that, this guy is this, and that's it. And we come together and form like Voltron. And we go whoop some heathens behind. All right? Read on.
And so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel.
So all those that was with his father, that was ruling during the times of his father, they came right along with him for the ride. Just like when King Solomon took over. All those that served under David, they came right along with the ride. Read on for the ride.
Verse 3. So he got his people great honor.
So he gave these people what?
Great honor.
Read on.
And put on a breastplate as a giant and gird his work. So he got his people great honor and put on a breastplate as a giant.
As a giant. So he put on the armory on. All right. So let's jump to 27. We're going to jump right through it and get straight to the point. And we started a little late, so you can read the chapters, like I said, chapter 1, 2, and 3, and 4. at home, if you want to read it for yourself. Right now we're jumping because, we're a little behind on time. So we want to get straight to it so we could, start the feast. So it's pretty, cool chapters to read about the history of how we regained the temple from those heathens, from the Greeks. All right. So it's basically our redemption from the oppression of the Greeks. All right. Read on.
Book of 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 27.
Uh-huh.
Now when King Antiochus heard these things.
So the King Antiochus heard all the things that Judas is out there doing. Like, who the hell is this guy? Who let him loose? Who gave him that great authority to do such thing in my kingdom? Read on.
He was full of indignation.
Oh, that boy was mad. He said, why you mad, son? Son, why you mad, king? Read on.
Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm.
So he sent the best of the best to go against Judah and his brethren. Read on.
Even a very strong army.
A very strong. You need an army to take down Judas in them? They weren't that deep. Read on.
Verse 28.
Uh-huh.
He opened also his treasure.
Man, he even opened the treasure. Guess what? Any man who could take these men down, look, this is yours. Read on.
And gave his soldiers pay for a year.
Damn, he said, look, I'll even pay you guys for a whole year. You got to take these guys down. They are causing too much havoc in the village and the towns. They starting to take over. Read on.
And
sorry, brother. Did they have a reggae song? We gonna run this wicked out of town. That Bob Marley sing that, right? Yeah. We're gonna what? Chase these crazy what? Ball heads out of town. Yeah, the Greeks, they follow after the Egyptian customs. Read on. See, when you listen to the reggae music, a lot of that stuff is in there. Read on.
He opened also his treasure and gave his soldiers pay for a year.
He paid them for the year. Says, go do the work, man. I'll even pay you in advance. Make sure you get this. I want this man put on, his head on a platter. Read on.
Commanded them to be ready whensoever he should need them.
So man, you on call. It's just like when your job said, take this phone. You on call for 24 hours. You're like, okay, boss, and I'm paying you in advance. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Not do it? You getting paid in advance, right? And you getting taken care of, and you on call, just in case when it pops off. All right, read on.
Verse 29. Nevertheless,
read on.
When he saw that the money of his treasures failed.
So what happened to the king's money?
Nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed.
Man, there's no money you could put out there to bring Judas and them down, man. Because the Most High is with them. Ain't that right, brothers?
That's right.
All right, read on.
And that the tributes in the country were small because of
take your time,
because of the dissensions and plague.
So what happened? When you sent the tax collectors to collect, the bags are coming up smaller and smaller and smaller. Why? Because Judah and them is running things like, yo, you ain't got to pay nothing. This is my city now. This is my town. Tell the king I said that. Tell the king, come see me. Judas Maccabaeus, come see me. Read on. I said it. Yeah. What's up? Read on.
And that the tributes in the country were small because tributes.
You all right there, bro?
And that the tributes in the country were small.
So the bag's getting smaller and smaller. Like what's going on with the bag, son? What happened with the bag? The king is like, yo, what's this this week? Like the mobsters do. Like, what's this? You're a little short there, Johnny. What's going on? Things are slow in the, things are happening. That's unacceptable. Like next week, you better have my money or you're going to be missing a leg. All right, read on.
Because of the dissension and plagues which he had brought upon the land in taking away the laws which he had been of old time.
So Judah is just causing havoc out there. And the king is pissed off. All right? Antiochus is pissed off right now. He just want this man dead already. All right? Read on.
Verse 30. He feared that he should not be able to bear the charges any longer, nor to have such gifts to give so liberally as he did before.
So he have no gift. So even his treasury is running short. Because now you don't have, if you don't have no money, you have no power. Because the soldiers doesn't work for free. I'm not going to be a soldier in this army if you ain't take, how am I supposed to take care of my family? Read on. Because with great power, you need that money. Read on.
For he had abounded above the kings that were before him.
Read on.
Verse 31.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore, being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia.
You see that? The same people that he took down years later. I mean, this is years later now. Antiochus came years later. So the same city his forefathers took down, the same Persians, the East Indians, the Persians, now he's going to go to them to ask for help. Read on.
Wherefore, being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia, there to take the tributes of the countries and to gather much money.
So he goes there and collect, because he got many cities that he owned. Read on.
So he left Lysias, a noble man, and one of the blood royal, to oversee the affairs of the king from the river Euphrates onto the borders of Egypt.
So he set up appointment there in that city of Persia. So your job is to collect and make sure you keep bringing that money in, because I got to pay the troops. I'm sending men to war. I got to have money coming in. It's the same thing America does with these other nations. He squeezed them. In order for you to be a superpower, you have to keep the money rolling. You have to keep the gold, the silver, because you have to pay the soldiers. You have to keep, you have to build the weaponry. All that stuff is expensive. You got to have the money coming in. It's money, power, respect. And the Locks tells you that? And be that's the key to life. All right, read on.
33.
Yeah.
And to bring up his son Antiochus until he came again. Moreover, he delivered unto him the half of his forces.
So he gave unto him the half of his forces. Wow. Read on.
And the elephants.
And what?
And the elephants.
He even gave him elephants. Read on.
And gave him charge of all things that he would have done.
That he would have what?
That he would have done.
All right. Where you at right now? Verse
34.
34. So let's jump down. We're going to jump to 38. Jump down to 38.
Book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 38. Then Lysias chose Ptolemy, the son.
Ptolemy.
Then Lysias chose Ptolemy, the son of Daraminus.
Read on.
And Nicanor.
And Nicanor. So the other feast that I was referring to, the destruction of Nicanor, that's the guy right here. Of Nicanor. These are the guys, the appoint guys that that he's hiring. Read on. That he's speaking of.
And Gorgias.
And these are the name of the guys. Nicanor. You got Lysias, Ptolemy, the son of Daraminus. All right, read on. All these Greek names. Read on.
And Gorgias, mighty men of the king's friends.
So all these mighty men that he grew up with, his homeboys. Read on.
And with them he sent 40,000 footmen and 7,000 horsemen to go into the land of Judah.
See? Just to take out Judah and his brethren. This man went to hire a SWAT team to take out Judas and his boys.
That's the whole cavalry.
That's the whole cavalry right there, man. You can't mess with us when the Most High is with us, man. Read on.
And with them he sent forth 40,000 footmen and 7,000 horsemen to go into the land of Judah and to destroy it.
And to what?
And to destroy it as the king commanded.
As what?
As the king commanded. Verse 40. So they went forth with all their power.
So they went forth with all their powers deep. Them boys rolling deep right now. Let's go get these boys. You know?
And came and pitched by Amos.
So they pitched tent at a nearest village. Read on. Those names are crazy. Read on.
and pitched by Emmaus in the plain country.
Mm-hmm.
And the merchant of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves.
For what?
For slaves.
For what?
For slaves.
Read on.
A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them.
Damn, they were just buying people as they go, man. I mean, can you imagine what that army looks like? My goodness, just to go and take out Judas and the boys in them. Man, man, listen, man. Read on.
Verse 42. Now when Judas and his brethren saw that miseries were multiplied.
So when Judas saw the misery that was multiplying, read on.
And that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders.
So he seen what these guys were doing to his people. Some they were putting in slavery, and some they were just killing along the way. So, you know, that brings hardship to Judas. You know, he was infuriated by that. Read on.
For they knew how the king had given commandments to destroy the people and utterly abolish them.
So Ptolemy had given that order and get rid of them, kill them. Read on. So we can't get to him, we're going to get to his people.
Verse
right?
43.
Read on.
They also one to another. They said one to another. Let us restore the decay estate of our people.
So what did Judas and the boys says?
Let us restore the decay estate of our people.
And that's what when we go out to teach, and that's how when we look around, that's what we got it. Then this is what we say. We are here to restore the decayed state of our people. When you look around the neighborhoods, in the hoods, it's our people that's in the hoods, in the ghettos. So our people are destroyed in the ghettos. So we are here to reinstate the life into our people. These dead bones, these dry bones, like Ezekiel 37 spoke about, right? So he said, "Let us what? Read it again. 43,
verse 43. They said one to another. Let us restore.
Let us restore
the decayed estate of our people.
Of our people. Because our people was in shambles. They dying out there. They are being slaughtered. Read on.
And let us fight for our people.
Let us what?
Let us fight for our people.
And Judas said, you know what? We're going to die today. We're going to go all out for our people. And that's the mindset that all brothers should have. If you're not willing to die for your people, man, I mean, what is the point? What is the point? Let's say you're only dying for your immediate family. Okay, now it's just you and your family. Who's gonna hold you down? The other nations, you just up for grabs for breakfast and lunch. All right, read on.
Let us fight for our people and the sanctuary. 44. Then was the congregation gathered together.
So the congregation came together. Read on.
That they might be ready for battle.
They ready for what?
They might be ready for battle.
You hear that, brothers? You got ready for what?
For battle.
You got ready for war. This is wartime. And it's a war cry. He's like, we get ready to go kill us some damn Edomites. All right? Look what these people did to our people. He said, what? We got to get ready for what?
For battle.
For war. Read on.
And that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion.
It might pray and ask for mercy and compassion. Read on.
45. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness.
Now Jerusalem looking like a damn wilderness. Can't even recognize the holy city. Read on.
There was none of her children that went in or out.
None left. Slaughtered. The other ones ran to the nearest caves and other places they could get safety on. Read on.
The sanctuary also was trodden down.
Read on.
And aliens kept the stronghold.
And aliens kept the stronghold. All right, go to chapter 4. You know what? Read 47 and 48. 46 to 47, 48, and then jump to chapter 4.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 3, and verse 47.
Like I said, you could read the rest at home and at your own leisure. Right now, we just jump into the key points of how we got the temple back and we went to war with the Greeks. to restore our people back to after they destroyed and decimate the homeland of Jerusalem. So Judas Maccabaeus and the brethren gather a small troop together to go to war with the Greeks, so we could get back the temple in the holy city. This is what this whole thing is all about. All right, restoring the holy city and delivering our people from the oppression of the so-called white man, the Greeks. All right, read on.
Verse 47. Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth.
So they fasted and put on sackcloth. Read on.
And cast ashes upon their heads.
Like I said before, they cast ashes upon their head. It's a customs that we did back then. Read on.
And rent their clothes.
So they tear up their clothes. Read on.
48. And laid open the book of the law.
So the heathens laid open the books of the law. What did they do?
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So they reading our book, and they said, no, these people are black people. No, we're going to paint our pictures. This is what they did in the Renaissance. Whitewash everything. There's nothing new under the sun. They did it during the time of the Greeks. When they came back in the 1450s in the Renaissance, they came back to power. They laid open the book, and they whitewashed everything. Everything these people are doing is the same thing they did already. It's nothing new. All right? Read on.
And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. They bought also the priest's garments.
So they even took the Levites' garments. Read on.
And the first fruits. And the tithes.
And the first fruits and the tithes. That was just the storehouses that we bring, right, for the Levites. Read on.
And the Nazarites they stirred up.
The Nazarites, even the Nazarites, they stirred up. Read on.
Who had accomplished their days.
They accomplished their days. All right, so jumped up to 58 and 59, then we go to chapter 1. Chapter 4, verse 1.
Verse 58. And Judas said, arm yourselves.
What?
Arm yourselves.
What Judas says to his brothers?
Arm yourselves.
Get ready for war, brothers. It's about to go down. All right? Arm yourself. Read on.
And be valiant men.
So be ready to die for this. Read on.
And see that ye be in readiness against the morning.
So be ready for the morning, because it's about to go down. All right? It's about to go down. Just be ready. Get the armor ready. Get the swords, sharpened. Get the, everything that you get, the horses all saddled up. You're getting ready for war. Read on.
That ye may fight with these nations.
So you should what?
That ye may fight with these nations.
That we're going to fight with these Greeks and these other nations that's joined unto them. The heathen nations that join unto them. Read on.
That are assembled together against us.
So they assembled. Remember, he went and got neighboring cities to join with them, with the Greeks, to come up against Judas and the brethren. Read on.
That are assembled together against us.
Read on.
To destroy us and our sanctuary.
So they're going to think they're going to come to destroy us, all right, in our sanctuary. Read on.
For it is better for us to die in battle.
Whoa, slow down, brother. What Judas said?
For it is better for us to die in battle.
And then what?
Than to behold the calamities of our people and our sanctuary.
You see that, brothers? You got to be ready to die for this. He said it is better for us to die in battle, fight, go all out fighting, than to go out like a wuss and to see the people, your people, in the decayed state that they are in. All right? That's the mindset we all should have as Israel. All right? Not going against each other about this camp and this and that. We should have one mind, one spirit, one body. The whole thing is to bring the nation together. Who cares if he's with this camp or that camp, or he does this or he does that? Everybody doesn't have to be gathered together under one man.